Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we find ourselves needing to drop approximately 5 tons, actually exactly 5 tons, from our overall drop weight. And that means ditching the Bandersnatch in favor of the Archer here. So that'll be absolutely fine, and apparently that's taking a hot moment, but that's okay. We'll hit this refit button and let's get this thing set up. So, what do we want to do? Well, I would very much like to have this thing be in quite a state here. That is to say, an upgrade over the 5 tons heavier Bandersnatch. We'll see if that's even possible here. So, what do we have for our FCSs here? Missile range? I don't know that missile range is really what we want. I'm going to go with an improved FCS just for the night vision. That'll be okay. And beyond that, these cockpits are pretty basic. Nothing really there. I suppose we could put in a slick suite for some additional piloting. That'll be reasonably okay. We almost certainly want to go with a clan sensor, since we have that available. As far as our engine core goes, I'm not sure where we want to put that just yet. But we have 3 Artemis 4 attachments, and I'd like to put one here, and ideally one out over here. We'll see how realistic this ends up being. I'm going to go with the smallest possible engine core right now. It's going to be a spicy boy. Okay, so we're going to do that for the moment. Now, I'd like to put in some LRM 20s here. So, how many of those do we have on hand even? We have 3? That kind of works. So we can put in an LRM 20 here, an LRM 20 here, and an LRM 20 here. So that's triple LRM 20s at more weight than what we had previously. Now, we could put in like an LRM 15 Longfire out over here. That'll use up basically all of our tonnage, and we need a lot more tonnage than this. So we're probably going to have to ditch this, but we might be able to pull that off. What do we have for Artemis ammo? That is a question that we need to ask at this time. We have 4 tons. Okay, each of these is going to be 6 turns of ammo for 1 unit of LRMs. So this right here is 6 turns of ammo. If we add in an additional, that'll be 2 additional turns of ammo, so something like that. Additional LRM ammo could be out over here, and this will be 120 shots. This would be a fair number of shots for this LRM Longfire. So that puts us 5 tons overweight as it is. I still want to have some amount of backup weapons. These are almost certainly just going to be medium lasers. So 2 medium lasers here and here. Now we need a lot of heat sinks. I'm not sure what this is going to end up looking like. I would ideally like to have 2 additional medium lasers here and here. I don't know that this is going to be a viable option. We'll see what we've got available. So, first things first, ferrofibrous armor. So that would end up going right up in here. That gives us 8 tons overweight. Endosteel structure, we need additional slots. Okay, so we may be better off with endosteel structure here. We are. We still have some slot issues. We need 8 slots available for heat sinks. And this is assuming the very smallest engine core. So, standard heat sinks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I think that's all we can fit. Yeah. So we're going to have to drop the endosteel structure. That's not shocking. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that puts us at 9 tons overweight. 9.8 tons overweight. And our heat efficiency is still minus 30 right now. So our heat delta is 77 heat. Heat sinking is minus 30, yeah. This is not great in terms of our heat, right? We can definitely think about swapping these over to double heat sinks. We actually do have enough for that. Slots could be a problem, but we could think about that. So a double heatsink kit goes in here, and then we would go for a double heatsink here, 2, 3. Yeah, we can't fit any more there. So slots are going to be a problem with double heat sinks, definitely. We could cram in 1 out over here, but we need to have 3 additional. And I don't think we can have any engine heat sinks here. We would have to upgrade our engine core size, which isn't shocking. That is about what I expected to have required here. So realistically, I'd like to have this be, what is the default in this? A 280? I mean, a 280 is going to be 19 tons. If we were to replace that, that puts us 30 tons overweight. That said, our heat efficiency is significantly better. We could ditch these double heat sinks. They are technically not even required. That one really didn't want to go away. Okay, there we go. So we're now 25 tons overweight. So this seems potentially reasonable if we go for an XL engine. Do we have an XL engine? We have a Gyro XL. We could certainly think about doing that, but that is a slot issue there. We'd have to drop the 2 medium lasers, which isn't the biggest concern in the world. So we could certainly think about doing that, but do we have an XL engine? I'm not convinced that we do on hand have an XL engine. So dropping these 2 medium lasers would be useful, but we definitely need to drop the weight of this engine if we want to do this. I think the number one choice here is we drop our LRM-15. Even just the triple LRM-20s is a significant upgrade over the Bandersnatch, which has 2 LRM-20s and an LRM-5. So we could ditch the LRM-15 Longfire. That'll save us a good amount of weight. That brings us down to 16 tons overweight. We can drop the engine core 280 down to potentially something like a 220, putting us 10 tons overweight. What about if we go down to a 175? That's still 6 tons overweight. So from there, we could run something like a Gyro XL, and we could also run Endosteel Structure, putting us just 1.3 tons overweight. We could drop this medium laser, or maybe just position it in the CT here to have our weapons a little bit more spread out. That's a theoretical option. We can also add in an engine heatsink +1, I believe. No, not at this size of engine core. Okay, so the engine core is going to be an issue here. That's really not surprising. I'm going to drop this medium laser, and we now have 0.3 tons overweight here. So, what do we want to do about that? How can we shed additional weight here? We could remove lasers. That is an option. And we're at 7 out of 10 heat sinks right now as well. So we're going to need to put in some regular double heat sinks here. One goes in here, one can fit here, and we need 1 additional double heat sink. So that can go in here. We don't have to put any weight into that. So that's reasonably fine. 0.3 tons could theoretically come out of our armor. And that's probably going to be our best bet there. Alternatively, if we dropped the Endosteel Structure, we would be 4 tons overweight. No, I think we'll do it this way. So we would end up dropping down a little bit in our legs. That's where our ammo is, but in theory, that shouldn't be a problem for this mech. It'll be sitting way, way back. So it'd be something like this. I feel like that's a really solid upgrade. Look at that potential long-range damage there. 350. That's a lot, no doubt about it. We don't have any additional LRM ammo Artemis. So how much overall LRM ammo Artemis do we have? Well, we have 8 turns worth. In theory, that's good enough. And then we have 2 backup medium lasers that we can fight with after that, but sure. Let's get that going. That's going to take 19 days. The question is, do we want to take this financial report? I think we actually just go right on through here. Let's wait for this archer. We can keep the Bandersnatch as a backup mech. But for the time being, let's do this. That archer might also have better quirks than the Bandersnatch, so this might be a sizable upgrade, especially considering taking the LRM carrier to the artillery. So I think overall, this is going to be a broad upgrade.
Hey, boss.
So we do have another financial report here. That is all absolutely fine. That does cost us a fair amount, but we're going to finish up work on this archer. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Now we're going to hop into our barracks and do our mech warrior upgrades, if we have any.
Standing by.
GV needs a point of guts. Okay, that sounds good. What else do we need here?
Good to go.
A point of gunnery for Jammer. I like it. Gunnery is always fantastic.
How can I help?
Anybody
I'm
else?
receiving you.
Yes, a point of tactics for Plato.
Training confirmed, Commander.
Okay, and then for Romeo, a point of guts. Now, Rook is going to be in the...
Stand by.
Rook is going to be in the artillery boat. So we really want gunnery and tactics here. Sensor roll is probably good. We can actually get 3 of these. Okay, that'll be fine. We can get that going. He needs a lot of training,
Yes, Commander.
but that's fine. He'll get that on the job, primarily. So Savarok could get 1 point there. Weasel Cakes could get a point of tactics, and we'll absolutely take that. And now we're ready to deploy. Okay, let's see what we've got going on here. So what do we got here? Well, I'd like a somewhat simpler mission. This is just a battle in the Highlands and a rough fight, but it's a high-tonnage Davian lance. Vanguard of a larger force of conventional tanks and infantry. Okay. But it's Davian. Word of Blake is on our side here. I wouldn't mind getting some Word of Blake opinion here. We could definitely run this. In theory, this might be a relatively easy mission. In theory. So we're going to let this all populate here, and we're going to swap out the Bandersnatch for the Archer. Now, does Klist have the ability to get... Yes, Klist does have the ability to get affinities for it. Looks good. Then over here, we're going to drop the LRM carrier for the Marksman SPG, which puts us right at our cap, and we'll put Rook in the Marksman SPG, and let's go. Darius didn't think that was going to be a hard mission, which is spooky. We'll see what ends up happening here. I'll see you guys after the loading screen. Okay, so that wasn't too bad to load. I did hear a helicopter, so let's see what we've got here. This could be very, very interesting, or it might be very simple. Either way would be good. Davian sent a pretty serious lance of mechs, apparently. Okay. So where are we going to go? Well, we know that they are right up over here. We don't immediately see any enemy lances. This is the edge of the map, apparently. So we could definitely spawn right about here. And I didn't actually mean to click confirm, but I guess this is where we're going to be. This is the edge of the map too. So if there are any, they'll probably come in from this way. That means they'll have the high ground, but we'll see what that ends up meaning. Okay, what do you got, Davian? We see a Stalker, a Pegasus, a Marauder, and an SRM carrier. This guy has got to go. Okay, so our first mech is going to be our Archer. And we can see we've got 480 shots here. Sounds good. I'm going to position it right up over this way.
You betcha.
And we're going to brace. Next up is going to be our crossbow. The crossbow wants to close in as much as possible.
Confirmed.
That looks like more than 4 targets, doesn't it? A Drillson, a Shiv, and a Nidhogg. Okay. Target priorities. SRM carrier. Then Nidhogg. Then we don't care. That would be the idea. So the rifleman is going to sprint up. Oh, actually, it's not going to sprint. It's just going to position here in this cover.
Got it.
And we'll brace. Sounds good. And they're going to move up their Stalker a little bit here. Of course, we've got spawn protection. Our Marauder is going to position up in this cover up here for now. That is the furthest it can move. Pegasus positioning here. I'm just thinking right now about where we might want to drop our first artillery. Honestly, I'm thinking about pot-shotting it in SAM mode at this Nidhogg. But we'll see. We'll see if they're super clustered up. For now, our Nidhogg is going to head up over this way and just start accelerating.
Let's see what this thing can
That'll do. And our Epimetheus is, of course, going to be targeted pretty heavily. I'm actually just going to move this into cover and brace it. They really like to target our Epimetheus. And mostly the Epimetheus can take that. How much evasive did that Nidhogg have? 9? That's not so bad, actually. Okay, our Grasshopper is going to advance forward here. This is not in cover, and it's kind of not going to be in cover. We're just going to position it here. Maybe I should have braced it, to be honest. That Marauder closes in. Okay. Next up is our Black Knight, and that's going to move up over here. Cool. And then that SRM carrier. Noted. So the Drillson closes in. That's all looking relatively fine. Now our Devastator is going to want to move up as much as it can, maintaining a bunch of evasive if possible. Okay. So that just moved up to the ridge. That's fine. I assume anyway. Yep, it moved up to the ridge, as expected based on the audio. So the jerry-rig demolisher is now going to close in up over here as much as it can. There we go. And finally, we get to use our marksman. So the marksman is going to position here.
Roger.
We can fire right now with our sniper artillery in artillery mode. And do we want to fire on any of them? Well, we could fire on this Nidhogg in theory. But what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to do an attack ground with our sniper artillery. We could attack here, here, but I think attacking here is the way to go. There's a lot of potential targets there, and we'll see what happens. Oh, no weapon can fire. I guess we can't fire our sniper artillery in round 1 while we are on spawn protection. Okay, that's fine. It was worth a try. So next up is going to be phase 23. Now, they moved their SRM carrier in phase 20. That is quite early. We'll move our archer before then, but that is the only unit that will move before their SRM carrier. Okay, they're firing on our Black Knight here. They got a little bit of stray shotting done there.
Took a hard hit there.
Not much armor
But broadly,
left
that's okay.
in that location.
So next up, we are going to have our archer remain where it's at in cover. We need to fire on this SRM carrier. Unfortunately for us, these are some very low hit odds. Obstructed from forest into forest, target moved. Okay, what we need to do here is we need to exit out of this. And we need to position somewhere where we don't have obstructed LOS on that SRM carrier, if such a thing exists. This is side arc unobstructed. We're going to take that instead. We're not going to be from forest either. Much better hit odds. Side arc instead of front arc. We could destroy this SRM carrier here, and we really hope we do. We missed our lasers, but it's gone. Beautiful. So now we don't have to deal with that insane SRM salvo. That is a very, very, very big deal. Okay, so with that gone, we are absolutely delighted. Next up is going to be some missiles on our archer, which, given that it's out of cover and only 2 evasive, isn't surprising, but I feel like this was an absolutely necessary move here. I really do feel like that was necessary. So next up is a phase 20 mover. If we can come up here, we can see that'll be the Shiv. Okay. The Shiv is not a huge threat to us. The next threat is the Nidhogg, and the Nidhogg is absolutely going to move in, but we might be able to take out that Shiv. Okay, it's firing on our marksman.
Commander, you've got hostile contacts inbound.
You don't say, Darius. Thanks for the timely warning on that one, bud. Okay, so next up is our Grasshopper. The Grasshopper is extremely unlikely to have a good shot on this Nidhogg. Yeah, 14.7%. This Shiv has 15 evasive, and it already fired its AGM-10, so that's fine. I'm going to position our Grasshopper up here, and it might be a good target for that Nidhogg. We'll see what it ends up deciding to do. I'm looking at hit odds here. The Stalker is the choice. Okay, light him up. Nice, we hit the autocannon there. That's what I like to see. We actually got a head hit there. Remarkable. So next up is a phase 18 mover. That will be this Marauder. Yeah, the Stalker has no evasive. So that's why that was a good shot. Makes sense. I am very concerned about this Nidhogg, and it needs to go away. We'll be focusing on it, but it'll probably get an attack on us. Okay, a Gauss rifle on the archer there, but the Gauss rifle actually hit the rocky outcropping. We were only hit with 1 PPC there. We'll definitely take that.
Talk to me.
The Crossbow X can move up and attack this Pegasus. Alternatively, we could position here and go for the Stalker. And I feel like that's a really, really good choice here. I wonder what our hit odds are on that Nidhogg. They're probably not worth taking, but I want to double check that. 20%? Even with improved, that'll probably jump to 25. I'm going to fire on the Stalker here. I think this is the choice.
Roger that.
So a good round of armor peppering there. That Stalker has taken a lot of damage. It's now unsteady, not like it had evasive to begin with. But the Stalker did indeed take a good amount of armor damage there. That looks excellent. Next up is phase 17, which is going to be this Drillson. They've got the 2 Drillsons out there. I'm not too concerned about those. It's the Nidhogg that is potentially the threat. So the Drillson moves out over this way, fires on our archer. Unsurprising. That was actually a head hit, though. That's mildly surprising. But Callista's okay for now. So the Epimetheus is going to move up to about here. We could fire on that Shiv. Hit odds are very, very low. We could fire on the Stalker. Hit odds are considerably better. Or we could fire on the Nidhogg. Hit odds are terrible. So firing on the Stalker here, we do run the risk of stray-shotting our Grasshopper right in that rear arc. I think I'm going to take this risk.
Firing.
Luckily, it didn't happen. Good structure exposure on the Stalker there. We did get a large laser destruction. I was hoping for a little bit more. The Stalker could have died there. Okay. Looking at the positioning of that, that makes sense. So the Black Knight is going to step up over here.
Position confirmed.
And it's kind of being bait for this Nidhogg at this point. We can fire on the Stalker, and we're absolutely going to do that. The binary laser in binary mode is the call. Nearly entirely armor damage to that Stalker. Sad. Actually, I think that was entirely armor damage. So now is the pain zone. We'll see what ends up happening here. This is when the Nidhogg is going to move. Who's he going to go after? Because it's going to be painful either way. Any way he chooses here, we're not going to be happy about it. But he has a lot of options. It's kind of... Oh, he's moving the Drillson first. Okay. Kind of a target-rich environment there, but that hit on the Black Knight means that the Black Knight is very likely the target for the Nidhogg. And that's potentially going to do a lot of damage on that right side, which is where our binary laser is. If we lose the binary laser, it is not the end of the world. I'm going to move up our crossbow here. We could go for the kill on the Stalker. We could fire on the Nidhogg in SAM mode. And I'm going to do this because we have SAM missiles here. Normally, I would fire on the Nidhogg, or rather fire on the Stalker. But I think that the Nidhogg needs to be starting to fire its AMS here.
Taking the shot.
So let's go. Little bit of Nidhogg damage there, but more importantly, we triggered the AMS. Now the Nidhogg moves, and we're expecting a huge amount of damage, or even just a destruction on the Black Knight. We'll see if it makes that choice. That would be the worst possible choice for us, I believe. So that's a move it should make here. I'm not convinced that it will. It positions here and goes for a Grasshopper.
I'm taking internal damage.
That hit almost entirely armor. Okay, this leg is exposed. We have a double AC-20 ammo in there, so that is concerning. Next up is going to be our Nidhogg. And our Nidhogg is probably going to go for the Marauder here. We don't get a rear arc on the Marauder, but we can absolutely take a side arc here. That Daisy Cutter bomb is not in ideal range there for sure. I'm just checking this here. 10.9. 30.4. These hit odds aren't great. I feel like they should be better than this. They probably will improve. We don't really get a side arc here unless we head out, like, over this way. I think here is the position to be.
Got it.
I don't love this position, but yeah, they did improve. We're going to hit the Marauder as hard as we can here. We're going to be going for a hit on everything. We're going to fire everything. We're looking to eliminate this Marauder as quickly as possible.
On it.
Ooh, we missed the Daisy Cutter bomb and the Snub Nose there. We did a lot of damage to him, though. That might even be a knockdown.
Reporting. Critical hit.
He's just unsteady. Okay, noted.
I've got
So
no
phase
ammo
15,
in multiple
and
weapons.
where is their Nidhogg? Their Nidhogg is here. I'm thinking about what we want to do with our artillery. For the time being, the Marauder wants to move up over here.
Roger that.
And I'm going to fire on this stalker. I'm looking for the kill on the stalker. I don't know that it happens here, but that was some good internal damage there. We did manage to tag the stalker.
Solid connection, that one.
Okay. Medium laser destruction there, but not a kill.
Good to go.
Next up is our rifleman, and the rifleman could position somewhere up over this way.
Move order.
We definitely could. We could fire on the Nidhogg if we wanted to soften up that front arc. These aren't great positionings, but sure, we'll take the Nidhogg firing here.
Affirmative.
We actually hit both of those ERPPCs. That is remarkable. On 25% hit odds, I did not expect that. So that's great. Next is our Marksman SPG. I'm going to fire this in flak mode. We could fire on the Shiv, or we could fire on the Nidhogg. I'm going to fire on the Nidhogg. We might do some splash damage to our friends over here. I'm actually not too concerned about that.
Firing full tilt.
Yeah, there was some splash damage there, no doubt about it. But I wanted to do some damage to the Nidhogg no matter what there.
You're gonna regret that.
No, I'm not going to regret it. So that is fine. We've definitely done a decent amount of damage there.
Aye, aye.
Now, the jerry-rig demolisher, I'm going to take out over this direction. I'd like to get it... Ooh, that's a nice side arc there. If only we could get one hex further over for the ideal range on the heavy rifle. Sadly, that's not going to happen. I'm just going to position it here, and we're going to have to fire as best we can. We're mostly crit fishing, though. So let's see what we've got here. Enemy effects, and we failed our sensor roll. Oh. We destroyed a Gauss ammo,
Target
and that'll be a
taken
knockdown,
critically.
too. So the Marauder is knocked down. That will be beneficial for us. But I was hoping for a kill there. Unfortunately, failing the sensor roll with the Nidhogg in this area is not shocking. So next up is our Devastator, and I would like it if the Devastator would make its way out over this way,
Understood.
looking to
Moving
fire
fast.
on this Stalker. We'd like a kill here, too. We hit both of those autocannons. Torso destruction, head hit,
Reporting critical
SRM destruction, pilot ejects. Okay, so the Stalker is out of here. Perfect.
Come on, Net
Okay,
Warrior.
next round we're going to be able to
It's
clean
showtime.
things up pretty quickly, I feel like. So the Nidhogg, the enemy Nidhogg, is phase 16. They are going to be moving their Shiv here. Yeah, they're going to move the Shiv. That's okay. All it's got is the SRM. I'm hoping that it doesn't have much evasive. It moves up over here and probably fires on... Oh, it goes for the jerry-rig demolisher. I would have expected that it fire on the Grasshopper there.
Bomber holding.
Now, the Grasshopper needs to be pulled back, almost certainly. Who moves next? Phase 21, that's the Pegasus. Okay. The Grasshopper doesn't move until phase 12 here, so it is vulnerable for a very long time. We do have a phase 18 mover with the crossbow. But by and large, we rolled very, very late in this. They're going to get to move almost all of their units before we do, which is sad. They're going for the Grasshopper there. They got a hip
Critical
destruction. It was lucky that they did not end up getting a ammo destruction there, let alone an ammo explosion. That would have been bad. So phase 19, this is now going to be this guy's turn. He is still going to be attacking this Grasshopper unless this outcropping is blocking LOS, which it might be. I'm not 100% on that. Going for the Epimetheus. Okay, it must be. Yeah, this is definitely blocking LOS. So we're a little shielded over here. That's nice, but it's not, you know,
Talk to me.
ultimately going to save us. The crossbow is going to position here. We're going to go for the Marauder, which is knocked down. And I'm going to go for this left torso.
Giving him everything I've got.
Goodbye, Marauder. Fantastic.
Powerhouse
So that's
Verano.
cleaned up.
Battle mech down.
So we don't have to worry about that Marauder. Next up is going to be that Nidhogg. The Nidhogg is going to move in the next round. We do have two movers here, though, including our crossbow, which can position here or so, although we may want to position it about here instead. These are still not good hit odds on that Nidhogg. And the reason for that is 11 evasive. Yeah, it's just 11 evasive.
Roger that.
Okay, we'll get a little bit of damage dealt to that Nidhogg, but that AMS is still active. Next up is our Archer. The Archer is going to stay where it's at, and we're going to fire once again on that Nidhogg. We need to try to shoot this thing down. It's unlikely, but if we can get it shot down, that would be amazing.
Got it.
That's a fair amount of missile hits.
Let's get fired
Unfortunately,
up. There's
nothing
work to
penetrating
do.
the armor there. So the Nidhogg gets to move now, and we have nothing to counter it in phase 16. So it's almost certainly going to go for the Grasshopper here. Like, move out over here and go for the Grasshopper. Even aiming directly for this leg or this torso, either would be bad. We'll see what ends up happening with that, but there's not a lot we can do. The Nidhogg backs off and chooses not to fire. Remarkable. It should not do that. That's a huge mistake. This Drillson is still chilling out over here and attacking our Epimetheus. The Epimetheus does not care.
Light damage.
So
Holding
that's
firm.
pretty much it at this point. They've moved all of their units that they have remaining, and there's very little left that they can do. I would like to come in and, like, melee attack this Pegasus and get rid of it. Rear arc? That's a fair amount of armor that it has, actually, but let's see what we get done with this rear arc attack.
Rolling. Engaging.
71 damage. Successful melee. We missed the binary laser. Point blank. That is really sad. But we did a lot of damage to that Pegasus. It's definitely damaged. Heavily. So next up is our Marauder. The Marauder is going to come up over this way, I feel like, and probably pot shot at that Nidhogg. It only has 7 evasive. So I'm going to position it here, and there's very little that the Nidhogg can do about this. If we manage to tag it, that alone would be a big deal. But it can't AMS those. And we did get a structure exposure there and tagged it. So that is really, really solid. Next up is our Rifleman. And the Rifleman is going to position here. I want to continue to hit this Nidhogg. 50-50 hit odds, and we could easily shoot it down. Again, a little bit of internal damage there. But sadly, the Nidhogg is still kicking. So, yeah, we've got both sides there. It has very little armor left. The Epimetheus is going to step up and hopefully finish the job. We can even fire the MGs here. I'm going to take this overheat, too.
This should be good.
There's no way it survives that with the AC-20 hit. Fantastic. So the Nidhogg is out of here. Next up, our Nidhogg is going to head up over this way, but we need to focus in on this Shiv. We'll get that taken care of soon enough.
Hey,
Next up is our Nidhogg, and our Nidhogg is going to head up over here or so. We've already used our Daisy Cutter bomb, so we're just going to position it about here and drop a bomb on one of these Drillsons. Given the hit odds, it's going to end up being the Drillson Cav. Okay, hefty damage there to the side arc. I like it. Good softening.
no ammo.
Next up is going to be our Devastator, which I also want to bring out over this way. Fire on that Drillson Cav. This is possibly a kill. Very, very possibly a kill.
Locked on target.
Unfortunately, we missed both autocannons there at 77% hit odds. We did get a structure exposure, but it's not as good as I would have liked. The Jerry-Rig Demolisher is going to head out this way as well and continue to pot shot out this way. In fact, I'm going to fire the eye rockets here just to hopefully guarantee the kill on this drill set.
God damn. Let's
Remarkably, it's still not gone, even with the eye rocket. Okay. 1 hit point.
Commander?
Rip. So our Grasshopper is, of course, in some serious danger here. Now, does it have LOS out over this way when it's standing? The answer is yes. I feel like we want to just disengage it. So we're just going to move back over here. The Grasshopper took a fair amount of damage, but it hasn't taken anything major yet,
Commander?
and that's okay. The Marksman SPG, I'm going to fire at the Shiv in flak mode. They're not very clumped together here.
Giving him everything I've got.
So a decent hit on the Shiv there. Looks good. And now it's probably next round, and we'll see how the rolls happen here.
Let's go!
So phase 23, the Shiv is going to move, then the Pegasus, And once again, we've rolled a little bit late here, but not as bad as last time. That's for sure. This isn't bad at all, actually. I'm not too concerned about this. So the Shiv is going to move. It probably should try to chase down our Grasshopper. But it went for the crossbow instead. This was a bad call. It should have fired that attack into the Grasshopper and attempted to get an ammo explosion. Luckily, that didn't happen, so we don't really care all that much. I'm going to move our crossbow X out over this way, and we are going to fire side arc on this Shiv. And we're going to fire with improved MRMs, and let's see if we get him shot down. We did. Beautiful. So no more worries about the Shiv.
One less hostile on the field.
Next up is going to be what unit? It's going to be our archer. Sounds good.
Commander?
So from here, the archer can fire... Actually, the archer could move down over here into
On
the
my
water.
way.
And from here, we can fire on that Drillson, and that should be a guaranteed kill.
Roger that.
Fantastic. So that guy's out of
Net
here.
warrior,
No problem.
It's go time.
And then there were two. And they won't last very long, to be clear. Okay, next up is our Epimetheus. The Epimetheus is going to position right here. On these hit odds, I'm not going to fire the light AC-20. And I'm not going to fire 2 of these medium lasers. Actually, 3. I'd like to sink some heat.
Locked on.
This is pretty much all hitting that front,
Give
but
them
we did get some
everything you
structure exposure there.
Scored a critical hit.
Sadly, that did not cluster very well at all. The Pegasus gets to move now, and we'll see what it does. Probably can't do very much at all. It goes for the Black Knight. Okay, that's fine. The Black Knight is engaged back over here, and it'll go away very soon. So that's okay. Next up is the final remaining enemy, the Drillson. What are you going to do, bud? Just stay there and fire on our Nidhogg, probably? Up on the ridge a little bit there, but it did come down a little and fired on our Devastator. The Devastator is completely okay with this. Cool.
Taking some heavy damage.
Oh, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. So next up is our Black Knight. And the Black Knight is going to stay where it's at, and we're going to eliminate this Pegasus. It will not survive this attack. It cannot survive this attack. It is not mathematically possible.
Damn, we're gonna do.
So the Pegasus is finally out of here.
Enemy destroyed.
And we're just overkilling it, to be
Alright.
sure.
Hit 'em
There we
hard
go.
now.
And
That's a
one
kill.
enemy remains. Beautiful. So next up is going to be our Rifleman. The Rifleman actually can get into LOS out over here.
Roger that.
Remarkable.
No shooting, just
And
running.
we can pot shot this. Maybe not firing an ERPPC due to heat. These hit odds aren't great. So we can sink some heat and pot shot too. We did manage to hit both of those. Although I think we hit the unit it was sitting on and not the actual Drillson there. Yeah, we did. That's
What's up,
awkward.
boss?
Okay, so our crossbow can move up, and
On the
that
move.
is going to fire on the Drillson, not in SAM mode for our LRM, that's for sure. In ER mode. And we'll soften up the side arc here a little bit. Structure exposure, did we actually just kill it? No, not quite, but it was really close to dead. Fantastic.
Ready for order.
So the jerry-rig demolisher is going to move up here,
On it.
and I don't think that the Drillson survives this. And there it goes. Fantastic.
Hell
So
yeah.
that Nidhogg definitely did a lot of damage to our
That was
Grasshopper,
good.
but nothing significant there, actually.
Mission successful.
So that wasn't too bad, all things considered. I think that went quite well. Really very well. The sniper artillery in that case was mostly used as a flak gun, and in that regard, I think it performed pretty well. Now, if the enemies had been clustered together, I would have absolutely used it as an artillery gun. They weren't. So in that situation, it doesn't end up working out. But what this means is this is a significant upgrade for us because it's a lot more flexible. So that's really, really good. We do get a decent payout out of that. It's going to be a while to repair our Grasshopper, as well as some other units here. And Klist is going to be injured for 9 days. There'll be a little bit of injury happening. But overall, I think that went really, really well. That was pretty good. What else are we interested in salvaging here? Another Artemis 4 attachment? We just used all of ours. Sure, we can take that. That'll be fine. And yeah, I think ultimately the Archer, it's a little bit more ammo constrained than the Bandersnatch, but I think it's overall in a better position in terms of like damage output. And the fact of the matter is, broadly, we kill things very quickly, right? Like we kill things within a round or two. Which means that only having like 6 or 8 rounds of ammo is not that big of a deal. In theory, anyway. So we'll continue trying that, see if we feel out any issues, but that felt pretty good. I really do like having the ability to swap between artillery and flak mode. I think that's going to be incredibly useful for us, because we've been relying on missiles to shoot down heavy bombers, and we have to overwhelm their AMS for that. They have good AMS. So I think overall this is going to be a big upgrade for us. 200,000 to repair is not too bad, all things considered. And how long is that going to be on that grasshopper? 10 days? I want to prioritize that. So we'll get that guy moved all the way up to the top. We'll even put the Black Knight about here. And we're probably actually going to need to cancel the work on the grasshopper and hop into the barracks and get this done in here. Because I think we did take a couple of crits. Mech Bay, not barracks. I think we did take a couple of crits, although it was like shoulder and things like that. So Yang is not going to repair that. We're going to have to hop in and manually repair it. Okay, and then max out that armor. Looks good. Validate that. Hip is damaged. Repair it. It was the hip. That's right. But yeah, Yang wouldn't have repaired that hip. And so we definitely needed to manually do that. Now it is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Actually, it's well past time. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and next episode, we're going to get these repairs done and see how that artillery fares in a different battle. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Kentogan, Ali Lee, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time. Also, I just realized, real quick here, we don't have an engineering upgrade going, and before I forget, I'm just going to grab the next one in the line.
It'll take a bit,
There we
but
go.
we'll get it done.
See you all next time.